What's up, you guys? Coming to you with a bit of a feel-good story. I know I do a lot of my videos in the van, but I think a lot of people would agree that the acoustics in a vehicle are a little bit better than doing it out in an open room, unless you have a soundproof room. But last week I was in Decatur, Texas, running some errands, and I was up on the square, and it was around lunchtime, and I obviously hadn't eaten lunch yet. I wanted to go to Panda Express. Well, there's a couple different routes I could have taken to get there, and the route I wanted to go, God just kept telling me not to go that way. He told me to go a specific way, which would take a little bit longer because I'd have to go through a few stop signs and a couple stoplights to get there. But I was like, okay, God, I'll listen. I'll go your route. And so the route I ended up going took me through the northeast entrance of the Panda Express, and there was a homeless gentleman there on the corner holding a sign. I didn't get the chance to read it, but anyway, he said God said you need to get this man some lunch. It's like, okay, God. So I pull into the parking lot, and I was like, okay, God, I'll go ahead and get him lunch. And then the thought of my mind that kept creeping in, it was, well, God, what if he wants to get a bigger plate? Those plates are like $10 or better. And he's like, that part don't matter. Have I not provided for you? Go get this man lunch. It's like, all right, God. So I got out and I started to roll over there. And again, I started to have second thoughts on whether I should or shouldn't. But I went ahead and obeyed God's command, and I went over there, and I hollered at him. I said, "Sir, have you had lunch today?" And he didn't hear me, so he came a little closer. I said, "Have you had lunch today?" He said, "No." He said, "I had breakfast this morning, but I haven't had anything for lunch." I was like, "Well, come on, bring your stuff over here. Come eat. Come get some lunch." So he gathered up his hiking pack and came over there. And we went inside and went to the front of the line to get food. And I went ahead and I got a plate, which is just a side and two small entrees. And all he wanted was a large side of chow mein noodles and fried rice. That's all he wanted, and a couple spring rolls. That's it. And so we get to the front of the line, and of course, the cashier asked, "Are you all together?" I said yes, and I paid for his food, and we went and sat down. And as soon as he sat down, he's like, "Man, thank you for the food." And then he pointed up and was like, "Thank you, Lord, for this food." And we just got to chatting, and his name's Dave, and he's actually been traveling for the better part of 20 years. And he said he was about his early to mid 30s when he decided that he wanted to start traveling. And it's something he's always wanted to do. It's something he thought about as a teenager. And he just told me all the places he's been to in his 20 years of traveling, which include going to Alaska several times. He's been to South America, down in Mexico, and several other places that I just can't remember. But it was so humbling to know that he is very appreciative of me just inviting him in to eat lunch. But it was humbling to know that all he wanted was just a few small items. He didn't even want any protein or anything. He just wanted some noodles and fried rice and a couple spring rolls. And I think that's where we all get kind of tied up with obeying God's command, is trying to think, oh, well, what if they want something big? Well, it's like, it doesn't matter. God's already provided so much for us. And it's where we ignore his commands, is when I mean, don't think that God causes problems for us, but when we don't obey His commands, certain things start coming up. It's like, okay, and then we think back, it's like, well, I probably should have done what God said. But in the end, it was just, I was so grateful to be able to meet Dave and hear his story of how he grew up. And I mean, he worked several years in the business industry, and he just got to the point where he didn't want to do it anymore, and he had just wanted to travel. So I really praise God for him just bringing Dave into my life and being able to just meet him and chat with him. It was great to know that there are people out there like Dave, because so many people just kind of make it, they'll either, whenever they see these homeless people, they'll either give them food or money. But I was just like, I'll just bring him in and we'll just chat. And it was a really great conversation we had. And like I said, I thank God for telling me what to do and get this man food. And I'm glad I obeyed his commands, because had I not done it, I don't think I would have ever got to meet a more humble man and thankful person than Dave. Great individual, and I hope that one day I might be able to run back into him. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Obey God's commands. When He tells you to do something, do it. Don't don't blow it off. All right, guys, y'all have a great rest of your day.